this is Mike, Seder 42 Vinyl. I'm going to make another video. This video is going to be a continuation of another video I did that was for the Seder 42 Vinyl Hall of Fame. These are going to be albums that are kind of my favorite albums of like all time, basically. And I'm kind of just putting them in, you know, my own personal Hall of Fame. These 5 albums that I'm going to do are going into the Hall of Fame under progressive metal. 5 of my favorite progressive metal albums of all time. These are 5 that I picked from my collection that I actually have and I own. So let's get right into it. The first album that I'm going to show is one of my favorite artists of all time. Not only is this one of my favorite albums of all time, but this is one of my favorite artists of all time. I buy pretty much everything that this artist puts out, and there's going to be another reissue coming from his back catalog too, which is really, really awesome from this particular band. He does side projects, he does his own stuff. This is one of his earlier albums. This artist was kind of into the hair metal scene a little bit back in the day, you know, like the hard rock scene. He was a guitar player in a band called Vengeance. And from there, he kind of didn't really have a destination for his music. You know, he was like not doing too well in the music industry after that. And he really liked progressive rock, progressive metal music. So he wanted to kind of give his one more try at making some music. And he created an album called The Final Experiment. And of course, if you know the name of that album, you'll know that I'm talking about Ayreon. This album here is his 3rd album, and this is another concept record that kind of continues the story of the first album. And I don't know if it was intentional or not, but at least not early on, and it kind of all came together later on when he started writing more albums in this series and kind of fleshing out the story. But the original concept for A Final Experiment was that, you know, kind of a what if scenario. What if, you know, there was a minstrel person back in medieval times who started receiving messages from the future about the world ending, and to try to warn people, you know, and do that in song, you know, so that it could maybe influence a better outcome for the future. Very interesting, you know, because the minstrel was blind and he, you know, was not really taken too seriously, but you know, his music started spreading, he started getting more popular or whatever, and, you know, forces started going against him to sort of stop him from telling these, you know, fantastical tales of the future, of the end of the world. But then Ayreon or Arjen Lucassen, the artist who created the Ayreon project, he created a second album which didn't really have a concept. It kind of revolved around, you know, digital computers, things like that, you know, or science fiction type stuff. But then he went back because Final Experiment did really, really well, and he was able to kind of reinvigorate his career, keep making music up to this day. So it's really, really great that that album did very well. And then he made what I believe is his masterpiece, and it's fantastic. And again, if you don't know the Ayreon project, it's Arjen Lucassen, and he gets together many different singers and musicians, and he sort of creates a concept album where all the different singers get to sing different parts. And if you can see that at all, you can see that there is a Highlander, an Indian, a knight, a Roman, an Egyptian, a barbarian, a hippie, a future man. So they all take on kind of their own characters. And this particular story is kind of about like an alien creature or an alien force bringing all these different characters from different time periods and kind of races of people, and kind of tests them throughout this electric castle, you know, where, you know, they have to deal with their own demons, or so to say, you know, like their own fears and things like that. And they're confronted with all that stuff. And then by the end, there's only a couple of them left. And then, you know, you realize by the end of it that it's all been kind of an experiment by this future race. So that's kind of a loose thing of the concept of the album. I love Arjen Lucassen. He's my favorite artist at this point in my life. King Diamond is another one of my favorite artists of all time. But Arjen Lucassen is right up there at the very, very tippy top of my favorite artists that music artists that I really, really, really love. And this album is fantastic. This is going into the Seder 42 Vinyl Hall of Fame. This is one of the best progressive metal albums that I own. This is probably, my number 1 progressive metal album ever. I think it's that good. It's so, 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 so good.
only see the stars? Can you recognize the constellations? If I could only see the hills that we're supposed to climb. Even the sunlight doesn't warm. How are we going to find our way? If we can't recognize the stars and we can't recognize the constellations, where do we go? Where do we go? Where do we go? Where do we go? No grail exists within this heathen land. You think we find ourselves at gates of new salvation, when I can only sense the end is near.
So the second band I want to talk about in the second album, and that is Symphony X, and this is the Odyssey. And this came in this awesome blue color. This album was pressed by the label called Sheet Happens, and they normally do like books of music for like guitar tablature and stuff like that. They kind of got into the vinyl pressing a little bit. They did some other bands, but they did 2 albums from Symphony X, and this was one of them. I was so glad when this album got repressed, and it got a really great repress. Now this is a little bit different from the original press that you would get. The original press had inner sleeves that had printed art. These are just black. But instead of that, instead of pictures of the band and stuff like that, you get a nice gatefold and you get all the lyrics inside, which is pretty cool. So this pressing, I would say, is a little bit less than you would have gotten if you get a little bit earlier pressing. The original album came out in 2002, and this is, yes, I don't even know if I mentioned the name. This is Symphony X, The Odyssey. Great, fantastic progressive metal band. The singer Russ Allen, you might know if you went to the last Trans-Siberian Orchestra concert. They had him singing some of the songs there. He's a great frontman. Really great voice, fantastic vocals. And the guitar player, Michael Romeo, is fantastic, or Romeo. He is really great. He writes most of the songs on here. It's a fantastic job. The Odyssey is a heavy album. It's definitely a little bit more metal than the Ayreon album, maybe a little bit more thrashy, I suppose, but it has some symphonic stuff in there with the keyboards and stuff. They have a dedicated keyboard player. And the Odyssey song itself is a full side of the album. It's like a nearly 20-minute song, and it does just go through the Homer Odyssey story through music, and it's just really fantastic. For that alone, this is going into my Hall of Fame under progressive metal. It's just one of the greatest albums, and it is my favorite album from Symphony X. That might not objectively be accurate. I think there might be people who would disagree and think that there are, some of their other albums might be their best. Fantastic album. Everything after this is great too. They really didn't have a bad album subsequent to this, and subsequent to really the fifth album. That album, this album, and every album after it, including their latest stuff, is really good. So Symphony X, The Odyssey, going into the Sadar 42 Vinyl Hall of Fame under progressive metal.
Behold the sea and winds of Jove. We set sail, guided by the stars above. The ports of Troy escape our view. A cold and stormy fate awaits our rendezvous. On will we ride into the
next album is an album that I haven't showed yet, and I don't know if a lot of people, even my friends who I talk to about music a lot, they may not know this particular album. I might have mentioned it like once or twice to some people, but this is one of the best progressive metal albums, and this band is from Sweden. These guys have been around for a while. This is their 5th album. A lot of their earlier albums are really, really, really good. It's just that the consistency all the way through, like, I may not like every song like at 100%. This album, every song is fantastic. They just nailed it on this album, and that is Evergrey, and this is The Inner Circle. This is a concept album, but it has something to do with like a religious cult, kind of. And there's some really interesting songs on here with some overdubs of just some like talking and stuff like that, like preachers and stuff like that talking. Really interesting stuff. Yeah, these guys are from Sweden. They're freaking excellent. This is, a lot of their albums are really good, actually. I like pretty much everything before this album, but I really think that they hit their peak here. Like, this is, in my opinion, is their best album. All these albums that I'm showing that are going into the Hall of Fame are 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10, 100%. So this is Evergrey. This is The Inner Circle. These guys are pretty heavy too. I just love this album. When you hear the song that I'm going to play, it's just excellent. It's interesting because the lead singer of this band, Tom England, he actually sang one of the Arion albums. And Arion or Arjun, you know, he picks his singers from a lot of really cool bands, including Evergrey. A lot of this stuff, you know, not only is it progressive in like a lot of its time changes, you know, the chords and the riffing, but the choruses and stuff, there's melodic parts in here that are really good. But every song on these albums that I really like that are progressive metal, you know, they have really good hooks on them, you know, so you know, there's some really good choruses, really good sing-along stuff that you get. So along with the complicated and progressive guitar playing and, you know, drums and all the musicianship is at a top notch on this album and all the albums that I'm going to show. But Evergrey, if you haven't heard of The Inner Circle, you definitely should check it out. It is fantastic.
Climbing walls of an endless circle, walking paths you never heard of, struggling in an endless battle, searching far for a higher purpose, drowning in betrayal's river. The freezing cold will make you shiver. Join the world of greater learning. Crown me king and be my servants.
All right, and another album. This is a more recent, kind of a more recent album. The guitar player for the band that they were originally in together, he started writing songs and he felt like that the riffs and stuff that he was coming up with would fit better with the vocals of the original singer. This is the Arch Matheos album, Sympathetic Resonance. This album obviously brings together John Arch and Jim Matheos. They put out 2 releases, but this album, Sympathetic Resonance, is a 5 out of 5, a 10 out of 10, a 100%. John Arch is a very unique vocalist. He really doesn't have much of a low register. He has the very high and then like a middle high kind of vocal register. His vocals are incredibly unique, but the thing I think that makes this album and the early Fates Warning albums that Arch sang unique is the lyrics and how Arch sings those songs, because it really is a lot of stream of consciousness kind of, it's just interesting how it's all put together. This is, I think, incredibly progressive. As far as progressive metal and all the bands that I'm showing, I think that this might be the most complicated, I guess, of music that I'm presenting here, And it was interesting because I had listened to an interview with Arch before, and he says he doesn't write any lyrics until all the music is done. I don't know, it's just really interesting to listen to just because of the way that the vocals are and how all the lyrics get sung over the music. And I think that there's a lot of lyrics and singing in places that normally wouldn't have a singing in a normal song. It's just really, really, really interesting. This is an original press of the album. The interesting thing is the track listing on here is slightly different because of how long the songs are. And they, had to put them in a little bit different order than they were on the CD just to have them fit properly on the 2 sides of the album. So that's really the only weird thing about the album. 6 songs, but like 50-something minutes of music, 55 minutes of music. Fantastic. It really will remind you of early Fates Warning with John Arch. If I could put this as a Fates Warning album in the discography for Fates Warning, especially if I was just going to rate the John Arch albums, this might be number 1, and this really is like a really, really, really good Fates Warning album. It's fantastic. 5 out of 5, 10 out of 10, 100%. It's really, 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 really good. And it's going into the Seder 42 Vinyl Hall of Fame for progressive metal. Okay, I have one more album, and this album was my number one album of 2023. It was my favorite album that I listened to. It brought progressive metal back into, as far as new music, back into my record collection. I liked the album prior to this from this band, but prior to that album, I don't like any of that stuff. I really couldn't get into it. I tried, actually, because I love those two albums, these last two albums from this band, so much that I really gave an effort to listen to some of their early stuff and some of the other albums that people say are just, oh, this album is great from this band. I only like the two albums, and I think it's because it's their most progressive and it's just their most interesting music that they created. Everything else from their previous discography just sounds, I don't know, it just doesn't click with me. This is a band that I never, even back, when they were hugely popular, or becoming popular on their early stuff, I had heard it and I was like, it's not for me, so I never really went to it. But the album before this was, and I'll just say this is Avenged Sevenfold. The album before this was The Stage, and I got this on the blue. And The Stage, I had heard a song or something, or piece of a song, and I was like, what really attracted me to the band initially was the vocals. And I was just like, this guy's vocals are really interesting. Like, they're different from anything I've kind of heard before, in a way. The singer for Avenged Sevenfold, M. Shadows, his vocals are very unique. And I gave The Stage a shot. I listened to it, I streamed it, and I was like, wow, I think I really like this. And the more I listened to it, it's one of those albums where the more you listen to it, the more you're just like, holy shit, this is fucking brilliant. It really is really that good. So I was really excited about this album because I was like, I really hope they're going in that same direction. And boy, did they ever. They kicked it up, the progressive metal, to another level for this album. The Stage is barely progressive metal compared to this. This album is just fantastic. I hear Zappa, stuff on here, Frank Zappa. I hear that really off kilter timing and the way that he sings, how there's kind of like, spoken word kind of parts, and it's just really weird stuff on this album. It's just fantastic. It's brilliant. And it's kind of based on psychology, I guess, like how are we, interacting, with everything psychologically. So it's really interesting, the lyrics and stuff like that and the ideas. But yeah, there are just some passages on this album that are just freaking weird. But in my opinion, the weirder it got, the more I liked it. I liked all that weird stuff. And then I liked how like one song could be like, have like a 1 minute section where they do like 3 different types of music, three different like genres, but it flows. It's not like it's like, oh, we're just going to do 3 different genres for fun. No, I really felt like the songs were written to be that way. And yeah, it's fantastic. I can't say enough about how good this album is. And it is going, obviously, into the Seder 42 Vinyl Hall of Fame under progressive metal as one of my favorite albums of all time. I'm going to be very, very, very curious as to what they do next, because, like, I don't know if this album was received well enough for them to continue down this road. This may be the only 2 albums like The Stage and Life Is But a Dream that we get like this. I don't know. I'm very, very, very curious to see if Avenged Sevenfold will keep it up. And even if they go back to a more simpler version of progressive metal that they were doing on The Stage, where, I say simple just because it's not as weird, even though it is still complicated time changes, music, and all that stuff. And there are interesting passages that are, not quite metal. But I'd be really curious to see if they continue this. I really, really, really hope they do, because I love this album. I think it's fantastic.
More power, more pace, more money, more taste, more sex, more pills, more skin, more shills. Build tall, build higher, build far, build wider, build here.
Yeah, so those are my 5 progressive metal albums that are going into the Seder 42 Vinyl Hall of Fame. And I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like, subscribe, comment. Thanks for watching. Thanks for subscribing. Thank you for commenting if you do that. And I'll see you in the next one. Thank you. Bye.